What's up, guys? It's Brian Kovic with Brian Kovic Fitness, and today's video is going to be all about macros, explaining what macros are, because I am a online fitness coach and trainer, and I've been living this fitness lifestyle for a lot of years. It's 5 years, and I've actually been counting macros for about 3 years now. And a lot of people don't know what macros are. I'm so deep into the fitness industry and all the information that comes with it that sometimes I don't know, that there are a lot of people out there that don't know the stuff that I would consider basic knowledge. So I'm gonna go back to basics here. I'm gonna try to simplify some stuff and hopefully make this a little shorter but easy to understand video. So macros, they stand for macronutrients, and every single food you eat, anything that you consume, is made up of two things: macronutrients and also micronutrients. Micro, micro is the little things, like, let's say, microevolution, right? That's kind of like the small changes over time, and macroevolution is the big changes, large scale. Same thing with business. There's microeconomics and macroeconomics, right? So there's like the details and the big things. The details with nutrition, the micronutrients, is the vitamins and minerals in food. Doesn't really matter because you can't really track it. You should just try to eat your serving sizes. 1 to 2 servings of fruit per day, at least. That's what I recommend. And 2 to 3 servings of vegetables per day, at least. But obviously the more vegetables, the better. And then macronutrients, that's the larger scheme. So that's protein, carbs, and fat. If you take a look at any food label, you'll see the nutrition facts, and you'll see the calories, and then you'll see the amount in grams usually of protein, carbs, and fat. So protein, carbs, and fat, that's actually what calories is made up of. If you break down calories, it'll come to, like I just said, protein, carbs, and fat. So 1 gram of fat is equal to 9 calories, and then 1 gram of carbs and also 1 gram of protein are both equal to 4 calories. So let's say you're eating some peanut butter, 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, and usually 2 tablespoons of peanut butter is about 180 calories, usually anywhere from 12 to 18 grams of fat, and like 8 grams of protein, maybe 1 or 2 grams carbs. If you add up all those, if you add up 12 grams of fat, that's equal to about 48 calories, or not 48 calories, I'm thinking about 4. If you add up 12 grams of fat, that's equal to, let's see, 12 times 9, 90, and then, so 108 calories from fat is in peanut butter, because 12 times 9 is 108. And then 1 or 2 carbs, that's 8 calories, and then 8 grams of protein, that's another 32 calories. And it all equals about 180 calories, or whatever that serving size says on the nutrition label, because you could break down all those macronutrients, and then if you add them all together, you'll get the total calories. You'll get the total calories on what it says on that label. Anyways, why I'm talking about macros? So usually when people diet, they just cut food right off the bat, right? In order to lose weight, in order to lose fat, you need to be in a caloric deficit. And let me explain this real quick. So every individual has a certain, it's called the BMR, basal metabolic rate, or maintenance calories is what I like to call it. Everybody has a certain amount of calories or food that they need to eat per day to provide their body with energy, basic vital functions of their body, their metabolism. A certain amount of calories that will neither let them gain any fat or muscle, or lose weight. And it's usually based on consistent activity during the day. So if you have a desk job, you're probably going to eat a lot less calories than someone that's, for example, a construction worker, because they're on their feet a lot, they're using a lot more energy, so their body needs more energy. So a caloric deficit is eating under your BMR or under your caloric maintenance, right? Anything. A pound of fat is equal to 3,500 calories. So you can take that in consideration. If you want to lose 1 pound of fat per week, you divide 3,500 calories by 7, which is the amount of days in a week, and that would equal to 500 calories. So in order to burn a pound of fat per week, you take your maintenance level of calories and you subtract about 500 and then you eat that, right? But how do I find my maintenance? So I'm going to leave a couple links in the description, but if you type on Google macro calculator or calorie calculator, first links are going to pop up that'll enable you to find out what it is, what your personal macros are, what your personal calories are, and it's really quite easy. There's no, and even if you use a calculator and even if you find out what your calories are, it doesn't mean that's going to be the most accurate thing for you, because some people, they have a damaged metabolism. A lot of my clients, they're actually, well, some clients that I had in the past, they've only, before they started working out and before they started, you know, tracking macros, they were only eating 1 to 2 small meals per day, and that's not a lot of calories. So if you want to lose weight on that, you're not going to be able to, unless you want to put in like hours of cardio in per week and stuff like that in order to create a caloric deficit. But that's not going to be maintainable, and it's just going to allow you to fall off and gain more weight in the end, because you're going to quit, and then when you go back to eating at a normal level of food, you're just going to gain weight back again, and it's called yo-yo dieting. So what I like to do there is, in those situations, is it's called a reverse diet, which I'll have another video on later, why you need to reverse diet and what a reverse diet actually is. But anyways, back to macronutrients. So when you do find a website to, and if, by the way, if you sign up for coaching with me, I do all this for you, and I explain why I did what I'm giving you and why I'm assigning what I do assign you. But anyways, like I said, it's not going to be accurate all the time because everyone's metabolism is at a different level. Some people's, they're healthy, some people are damaged, like I said. So the main thing you can do before even starting a deficit or a surplus, which is the opposite, if you want to gain muscle, you got to be eating more calories than your body burns a day, because you're providing that extra fuel. If you want to gain weight, you're going to need more calories, right? Because muscle, the more muscle you have, the more calories your body naturally burns. So if you want to gain more muscle, you're going to need to provide your body with more calories so it can grow and have that extra energy to use to grow. You know what I mean? That's why it's so hard to lose weight, or to lose weight and build muscle at the same time, unless you're like just a beginner, which is called it's not really called, I like to call them noob gains, or just a body recomposition. Because let's say you've never worked out a day in your life, you have the opportunity to gain fat and build muscle, just because only if you're eating at a certain level of calories. Like if you go right into a extreme deficit, caloric deficit, I wouldn't recommend that, because first of all, you're not going to gain much muscle, and second of all, you're just damaging your metabolism right off the bat when you should be focused on gaining muscle and eating at maintenance or a little bit above. And I'm sorry if I sound confusing here a little bit. It all makes sense in my head. I'm just trying to dumb it down a little bit or simplify it. But anyways, back to my main point once again. So in order to find your actual basal metabolic rate or your maintenance calories, I recommend just plugging all your stats in the calculator, taking the calories that it shows you. You don't even have to worry about tracking macros yet, because calories is king and then macros, but macros make things a lot more efficient. So the first week, try out the calories. Like track your meals, download MyFitnessPal. That's what I use to track my macros, track all my meals. Another app is MyMacros Plus. I use that for a while as well, but I do prefer MyFitnessPal. And yeah, all trial and error, guys. See if you lose weight or gain weight. If you lose weight, increase your calories and try that again until your weight remains the same. If you gain weight, lower the calories until your weight remains consistent. And then after that, you'll find out what your maintenance calories is, and you'll be able to so much easier achieve your fitness goals, because now you know what to do, what to cut from, and just how to move forward from here. So once you find out what your maintenance calories are, you're going to want to calculate your macros. And there's a lot of, in the old school bodybuilding books that I've read, there's a lot of different ratios, you know, like 40, 20, 20 splits, which is basically 40% of your calories coming from protein, 20%, well, that doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even make sense. Hold on. 40, 40, 20. All right, so calculates to 100%. So 40% of your calories coming from protein, 40% of your calories coming from carbs, and 20% coming from fat. And, you know, that's generally good, but at the same time, it depends on what your calories are. Your protein can be like way too much or way too little, and all that. So I don't really like to base my macros on certain percentages. The only percentage that I do like to base it on is fat. I recommend, and I'm not a doctor by the way, I'm not a physician or anything like that, but I am certainly qualified, more than qualified I would say, just with all the information I've read over my just years of being passionate into fitness and bodybuilding. But anyways, what I like to do, I recommend 20 to 25% of your calories coming from fat, right? For example, let's say minus 3,000. I'm gonna do this on the phone with y'all. I live in Ohio, not Texas. But all right. So let's say my maintenance is 3,000 calories, which is about correct, and I'm gonna use 25% because fat is needed. Fat is a necessary macronutrient. A lot of people are scared to eat fat, right? If you get your fat from healthy sources, your body needs that. It fuels your brain, it fuels your body. Fat is necessary for optimum hormone production. So your hormones is what makes you feel good, makes you happy. Dopamine, it makes you feel full, there's hormones that make you lose fat. So if you're not getting adequate amount of fat from healthy food sources, you may not even be able to lose fat, right? There's a bunch of things that come into play, and especially for women are so much more hormonally different than us guys, and I definitely recommend women getting upwards of 25% of their calories coming from fat. I like to do 25% unless I'm really low in a cut, then maybe I do 20%, or I do 20% more if I'm bulking actually, but when I'm cutting I do 25%. But anyways, you just do 3,000 times 0.25, 750 calories. And remember I said that 1 gram of fat was 9 calories, so I just divide 750 divided by 9, so that's 83 grams of fat. That's my fat macro per day. So I remember 83, I write it down or whatever, and then you figure out protein, right? Because protein is also a vital macronutrient. Like I said, calories is king, but when you take into account all these macronutrients, it makes things more efficient. Like I said, fat is vital for optimal hormone production and your body's functions, right? Protein is absolutely vital for the repair, the maintenance, and the building up of new muscle tissues and existing muscle tissues. So I recommend, there's a bunch of different things with protein. With the research that I've come across personally, I recommend anywhere from 0.7 grams to 1.1 grams of protein per pound that you weigh. So I use about 0.8 to 1 gram. Oh, that's basically the same thing. I use about 1 gram. Like I've done like 0.6 grams per pound body weight, and I've tried that out, and I didn't lose any muscle mass. But I generally do 1 gram of protein per pound that I weigh. So I weigh 210 pounds right now, and I'm just tracking. If I hit 180 grams of protein, I'm good. Usually I hit 200 grams of protein. So I'm gonna use that. Remember my macros so far, I'm gonna put it up here. But 83 grams of fat, and then 200 grams protein. But, and that's based off body weight, right? So it can be anywhere from, so if I weigh 210 pounds, ooh, that's times 0.7, that's anywhere from 147 grams of protein to 210 times 1.1 to 231 grams of protein. And like I said, you need more protein the leaner you are and the less body fat percentage you are, just because you don't want to you're more likely at those lower level of body fat to burn through your muscle as energy because it doesn't have fat for energy, and you're usually low carb. You're eating low carbs when you are that lean, because when you want to get to that low level of body fat, you have to continually start cutting your calories and creating more caloric deficits, because your body adapts further down the longer you are on the diet. And and when you're bulking, you need less protein, just because your body has so much energy already, and also has fat to fuel it. But anyways, so 147 grams to 231 grams of protein is what I need, and I pick in between there, so 200 grams of protein and 83 grams of fat so far. So if I put 200 grams protein times 4, because 1 gram of protein is 4 calories, that's 800 calories. So I add this, remember 83 times 9, 747 calories, plus 800, that's the calories coming from protein. That's 1547 calories. So the remaining macronutrients is carbs. And just like fat, a lot of people, they are scared of carbs as well, because I don't know why, like white bread, sugar, all that. It's completely fine to eat. I believe in flexible dieting. If it fits your macros, you may have heard of it. If you haven't, it's basically like calculating your macros and tracking your macros based. So if I have any cravings, if I crave, let's say, a cookie, I can track it, I can weigh it, or follow the nutrition facts, and it plugs into my macros. So if the cookie is, let's say, 20 grams of fat, 30 grams of carbs, and like 5 grams of protein, that just subtracts from my total calories of the day, and whatever is left and remaining, I have for the rest of the day. And as long as I hit those macros and the calories, especially, I don't have to feel guilty about eating that cookie, and I can still be on track to achieve my fitness goals, if that makes sense. So anyways, carbs, they are your body's preferred source of energy. So when your body is active, when you're moving around, when you're at the gym, your body uses the carbs you eat as energy, as its main fuel source. And if you just cut out carbs, if you go on a low carb diet, you're going to feel like crap, just because you're going to be low energy. It's going to be affecting your mood, your mental. You're not going to be focused. You're going to be groggy. You're not going to have any energy, and it takes a lot more discipline to go to the gym and just achieve your goals. But if you eat carbs and you adhere to your calories, the right amount, the proper amount, and actually are fueling your body with what it needs, you're going to feel a lot better. And dieting, or whatever your fitness goal is, it's going to be a lot easier than just a conventional way that society tells you, or the media tells you, or whatever. So the way, and when your body's at rest, when you're just sitting down, it uses fat. Fat is the secondary source of food or energy your body prefers. So like when I'm sitting down like this, your body uses fat as energy, as fuel. Ooh, dropped my phone almost. But anyways, so we're total that 200 grams protein, 83 grams carb, and 83 grams fat totals to 1547 calories. And remember, my maintenance was 3000 calories, right? So what I'm going to do is subtract 1547 from 3000. That makes 1453 calories left. And then I'm going to divide that by 4, because 1 gram carbs is 4 calories. So that gives me 363 carbs per day that I need to hit. So my macros there: 200 grams protein, 363 grams carbs, and 83 grams fat, right? So, and that's my calories that I gotta hit to neither gain or lose weight, right? My maintenance level, based on my activity per day, based on my body weight, and based on my age and all that type of stuff. Like I said, a calculator will do it for you, any calculator, but the main thing that will let you find that out is just through basic trial and error. That's how I did it. That's how most people do it. There's no magic number that anything can give you. So if I want to lose, generally, if you want to lose fat, I don't recommend more than 2 pounds of fat loss per week. 1 to 1.5 pounds loss per week is a sweet spot. 1 pound of weight loss per week is a 500 calorie deficit. 1.5 pounds per week is a 750 calorie deficit. because a pound of fat, like I said, is 3,500 calories, and you just divide that by the days of the week, and you get that amounts to subtract from your calories per day. And then the main thing, so if you, let's say I do want to start losing a pound per week, right? I subtract 500 from 3,000. That gives me 2,500 calories per day, which is still a lot, for me at least. I can still be flexible with that amount of calories with my food choices and all that. But what macronutrient do I subtract from first? Well, it's going to be carbs first. Now, like I said, it's important, but you need protein more. You need fat the most, and protein second, and then carbs. But it's still important, right? So what I'm gonna do the same exact equation that I did, same exact strategy I did with figuring out the macros that I did with 3,000 with 2,500 calories. And obviously, there's going to be, well, maybe not obviously, but you're still, like I said, the main macronutrients we're going to subtract is carbs, but we're also going to take a little bit from fat, because you don't want to be, well, not you don't want to be, because fat is good. I like eating fat, but I prefer having carbs and that energy over more fat. So that 20 to 25% of calories coming from fat, that's going to be every caloric amount we're at. That's what I'm going to take. I'm going to multiply by 0.25 or 0.2 to see what my fat macros are going to be. And protein is always going to stay the same for me at 200 grams. So I'm going to do that with 2,500 calories real quick again. So 25% of 2,500 calories comes out to 69 grams of fat. So that's going to be my new fat macro. And then, so that comes out to 621 calories plus the protein, which is 800 calories, 200 times 4, 1,421 calories. So I'm going to subtract that from 2,500 calories, 1,079 divided by 4, carbs. That is my new carb macros. 269, I'll probably round that up to 270 carbs. So 200 grams fat, 270 grams carbs, and 69 grams fat. So that's what I'm going to hit to lose 1 pound of fat per week. And that allows me to be flexible. Like, let's say I want to get a donut, right? Usually a donut's anywhere from 10 to 20 grams fat. I can fit that in easily and still eat other foods. But the one thing some of my clients, beginner clients at least, have trouble with is keeping their fat macros low and hitting their protein. So what I recommend doing is find out at least how many meals per day you're going to eat. I like to eat larger meals. You may like smaller meals, but I like to be satisfied. I like that full feeling in my stomach. So let's say 3 meals. Divide 2,500 by 3, 833 calories per meal at least. Or if you want to do it with macros, you can be like 200 divided by 3, which is protein. I need at least 66 grams protein per meal, or 90, or at least 90 carbs per meal, and at least 23 grams fat per meal. So that's 3 meals. So that's how you do that generally. And if you eat out a lot, it's going to be a lot tougher to count your calories. There's a lot of healthy choices you can make, and eating out is fine for me because I know how to estimate macros and calories of food just by looking at it, because I've been doing it for so long. But I generally don't recommend doing that right off the bat, especially if you want to be accurate with it, because especially if you're a beginner, estimating can be the difference between, you know, being in a caloric deficit or being very far in a surplus, which will make you lose fat, right? So I recommend getting low fat options if you must. Usually if you get fast food, if you have to get fast food, sometimes you can still fit in sometimes, but I don't recommend it just because of the quality of that type of food. I still eat it sometimes, but I'm not perfect. It tastes good, but home cooked is the best, especially because you have more creativity with low fat options. You know, cooking spray like Pam, but can't believe it's not butter spray, all that. few egg whites instead of egg yolks. I usually, when I eat eggs, I use 1 or 2 egg yolks, and then I put a lot of egg whites in. So that's high protein and then generally low fat, but the egg yolk is very good, very nutritious, and has a lot of nutrients there. And also, I believe there's some enzymes in the egg yolk to help digest that egg white. So that's why I like adding at least some egg yolk and not having just strictly egg whites. But that's just an example, guys. Hopefully I explained. Remember to check out those links in the description. A simple way to calculate your total macros, by the way, if you're a man, take your body weight and calculate it by 13, 14, 15, or 16. So if you lead a generally sedentary lifestyle, which, like, if you have a desk job or if you're sitting all day, use 13. If you have a high activity, high energy expenditure type job, like a construction worker, if you're always on your feet, use 16 to multiply by your body weight. Or if you're like just like a teacher, standing most of the day but not super active, use in the middle between there. And if you're a girl, use anywhere from 11 to 13, 11, 12, or 13, maybe 14 as well. I think it's to 14 actually. That's the easiest way to calculate your general macro, general calories. And like I said, trial and error, guys, and use my method there for calculating your macros. I'll still leave links to those websites there. And comment below if you have any questions. I want to do a video next that you guys want, my current subscribers would like to see out of me. And if there's any new subscribers, welcome to my channel. I appreciate it so much. Check out my first video if you haven't. You'll learn a lot about me, a lot about my purpose here on this earth and on YouTube. And give me a like, give me a thumbs up, helps me out. Share with your friends, share on Facebook, that would mean a lot as well. It would help a lot of people out. Tell your friends about me. Add me on Snapchat. I got Snap Spectacles, guys. Those are cool. And follow me on Instagram. I'm most active on Instagram. Brian Kovic Fitness, Snapchat, everything else. Twitter, Brian Kovic. Please subscribe if you haven't. Thank you again for watching. It means a lot. God bless, guys.